While in the BVIs, you will hear many a sailor ask for a painkiller. And we're not talking about aspirins. We're talking about a killer cocktail.
Slave, here's to the skipper of our motley sort that steers us from trouble at sea and not port.
So, if you find yourself at Marina Cay, then you have to have a Pusser's painkiller. But first, we had to ask, what's in a painkiller? And who better to tell us than Mr. Charles Tobias himself, owner of Pusser's Rum.
And the Pusser's Painkiller, that is probably the finest rum drink in the world today. It started right over here in Joost Van Dyke at the Soggy Dollar Bar. What is it? It's 4 parts pineapple, 1 part orange juice, 1 part cream of coconut. And we have a number 2, number 3, number 4. Number 2 ounces is Pusser's Rum, number 3 is 3 ounces, number 4 reserved for men only, or kings as we call them, or captains. 4 ounces Pusser's Rum. Here in the BVI, we don't allow women to drink those. They don't like it much, but we work it out. Navy rums are very flavorful and very rich, and much more of a powerful taste to them. And there really isn't anything else like it. And it's the only rum that I know that you can mix with all kinds of fruit juices and other wonderful things that are good for you, and that flavor still punches through. And the name Pusser's, hell, is nothing more than a corruption of the word purser. In the Royal Navy, the purser was called the pusser. Everything that came from the purser who controlled the ship's stores was called pusser, and it still is today. And another name for this stuff, Nelson's blood. The Battle of Trafalgar, legend has it that Nelson's body, of course the great admiral, the greatest admiral ever known in the history of sea fighting, took down 19 Spanish ships to not a single British vessel at the Battle of Trafalgar on October 21st, 1805. His French sniper nailed him when he was standing there on the quarterdeck. He's a cocky little guy, had his medals all over him. He's lying on the deck and mortally wounded, and they took him below, and he said, "Don't let them throw me overboard." It was customary in those days to throw the mortally wounded and the dead over the side, and they didn't. They took him back to England, and they preserved him in a very, very large cask of Pusser's Rum. And they took him out, and the rum was gone, but the body was pickled. My God, where did it go? And they found a little hole at the base of the cask, and the jack tars, the sailors, the jack tars, had drank all the rum, and thereby drank of Nelson's blood. And that's another name for Pusser's Rum. Even today, they allude to it as Pusser's Rum is Nelson's blood. And how good is it? Well, it won the gold medal 2001 as the world's best dark rum at the International Wine and Spirits Festival in London. That makes it pretty good. There are a lot of other rums there, but there's only one Pusser's, which represents 3 centuries and a lot of drinking.
One reason boaters love the BVIs is because there are so many great places to visit and enjoy that are only a few hours sail from each other, which translates to no long passages between stops, making it a favourite for families. One such stop is Marina Cay, a small paradise just off the coast of Beef Island and the home of Pusser's Rum.
You know, Pusser's Marina Cay is just one of the great little idyllic islands in the world. Every part of the world has 1 or 2 places that are special. And I'd say in the Caribbean, this is probably the special island. And it's only 8 acres, surrounded by a coral reef and that encloses a lovely lagoon down there. The lagoon's about 3-4 feet deep. It was settled the first time by Rob and Rhodey White, who came here in 1937, and they built a house here. He was a Naval Academy graduate. Newlyweds. Can you imagine what they found here in those days? So they came to this little island, and they came down here, and they had their honeymoon here, and they stayed here, and they built a little house up there. And of course, the war came along, and he was recalled back to the Navy and went on active duty in 1940, served the war in the Pacific. After the war, came back, and he and Rhodey tried to get back together. It didn't work out. Somehow he lost the island. He hadn't properly filed title to it, and somebody screwed him. And then they separated. He became quite a writer. You know, he wrote Two in the Isle and Our Virgin Island, which is a book on their life on Marina Cay. She passed on, and then He died a couple of years back, but their spirit is everywhere about this place. Even tonight, you know, every night you come here, as the sun goes down, you feel this place and the music and the fun and the people up there all drinking their painkillers. So it's all about the sea and tradition and rum and drinking and grog and the painkiller. And that great place out there, that Sir Francis Drake Channel, all the great ships that have crossed up and down there, and they've never left their mark as man has on the land. They're all out there, they've all been there, and you feel them here in this kind of place. That's what's so great about it.